just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? And it's time for that weekly ritual. Woo, baby. That is the sound. Oh, yeah. Matty just had an orgasm on the microphone.
Not for the first time.
That is the sound of glory. That is the sound of a hard-earned beer at the end of the week. You've worked so hard, mate. You know, you go to a job you don't like, you rock up every morning, you look up, you got your the crew leader, or you got your boss, and you're just like, oh, such a dick. And you just put your head down, bum up, and you keep on chugging through. This is your reward, so make sure to enjoy it. Head down to your local, grab a case of bloke beer. Yeah, we're in special in every celebrations in New South Wales and Queensland. So get into your celebrations. As I always say, guys, if you guys go in and grab the case of beer from celebrations, let's say there's not one really close, it's just a little bit further than your normal bottle. If you go in and show support, they are more willing to do specials, and it helps us grow. It helps us grow massively, and it gives us opportunity, maybe potentially, to bring out new beers. So, for example, if the full strength lager is a bit, some people say it has too much fruitiness in it, maybe we go something a bit crisper. Or we've got the mid-strength that we release that people are absolutely loving, or maybe we go even crazier. So get into your local celebrations, give her a crack. I promise you won't be disappointed. Beautiful beer. Matty, how you been, mate?
Good, Denon. Very good.
Why'd you say Denon then? That was weird.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
No, it's been a good week this week. It was obviously a bit of a slow start after Magic Round, and now that I got that terrible Sunday out of the way, it's already got FOMO for Magic Round.
It's weird. As soon as that game kicked off last night, it's like Magic Round officially over.
It's done. It's done. And also, like, I posted on my Instagram a photo of Magic Round last night because I thought, this is the last time I can milk this. This is the last time I can milk this. And me, it's funny. I've been talking to Dustin Klutz a lot from Bloody Brilliant Beers, and like we're all in the same boat. We're all like just trying to hang on to the weekend that was.
You're like a rugby league player hanging on to his footy career.
That is exactly what we were doing. Yeah.
Magic Round, beautiful stuff. Now there's been a little bit of chat, and maybe it's just chitter chat, and maybe it's the great V'landys just trying to get the biggest bid possible from from Queensland to keep Magic Round there. But there's been some chat around moving it. Hey, no, don't move it. And I don't say that as a biased Queenslander. I mean, look, obviously I've got bias. I'm a Queenslander, but if you've never been to Magic Round, you don't understand. It is the perfect place for Magic Round, not because of Suncorp Stadium. It's because of where it is located. There is a street. It is called Caxton Street.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, have you heard of it? It is, during Magic Round, it is completely blocked off. So you can just mosey, like literally, what do you reckon? 2-minute walk maximum? Maybe a minute walk.
Yeah, it's very short.
You can drink a beer and see the stadium.
Yeah.
There is, when the streets are closed off as well, there is no gap between you and the stadium either. You literally, so it's almost like a festival. You're walking down the street. There's no cars on it. All there are people on it.
Yeah.
And there's bars everywhere.
Yeah.
Bars, pubs, restaurants, all along the street.
And there's like kebab stores, like food. There's sausage.
Everything that you could need as a bloke. Everything. Now, there's even another on the other side. You've got I don't think it's called 4 Point. Newstead. You got Newstead, the craft beer. You got there on the other side. Like, if you take that, if you try to take it to Sydney, first of all, I personally don't think Sydney siders would appreciate it as much as Brisbaneers would, because Brisbane froth their rugby league.
Yeah.
Not to say Sydney don't, but it's just, you speak for you. Yeah. You as a New South Welshman, speak on it.
And I hate Queensland, and I've worked for I've got no reason to ever support Queensland in any way, but like, I'm happy to throw Guru under the bus with me here, and he'll be fine with this. Like, we were in the Uber on the Saturday to the Caxton because we spent the Friday there as well. Went to Suncorp, did the whole thing, and we were like, you don't want to admit it, but there's just something different about Queensland when it comes to rugby league in this term. Like, there's just no way it would work in Sydney. Like, I'm sure people like Sydney siders would turn up and love it, but what are you going to do? Like, Oxford Street in Paddington is, first of all, it's too big. The pubs aren't close enough to each other.
It's ages away.
It's too far away. Caxton Street is rugby league. It's like the center of rugby league. Yeah. I went to Brisbane on Magic Round. The last 2 times at Brisbane, I haven't been anywhere outside of Caxton Street.
Yeah, you can just sit on it. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
You literally, you rock up. Let's say you rock up at 2 in the Arvo. You don't have to leave Caxton Street or Suncorp until 4 in the morning.
That's right.
And you have the literal time of your life.
And you don't want to go home.
You don't want to go home. And you get to watch the footy. You get to watch all the games. Come back. It is unbelievable.
But like, please, if you haven't been and if you're not from Sydney, even if you're from Brisbane and you haven't been, please go. It is so worth it. Make sure you book early because accommodation's crazy. But like if you leave it till last week.
Yeah.
But like, please go. It is my favorite weekend of the year.
Yeah.
And I will be back every year for the rest of my life, as long as it's in Brisbane. If it's in Sydney, I'm more likely to go to it in Brisbane.
Yeah,
and I live 100%. In Sydney.
And like this, like Adelaide and New Zealand, and like, look, I understand. Like, let's try to grow the game, but like, let's give the 9s to New Zealand or do something else. Like, I love the rotation of the All-Star game with the Māori and the Indigenous. I think that's
put an Origin game in New Zealand.
Yeah, but Magic Round, we have this perfect place. Also, like, you want to be able to build history at a place. So like, last year we hung here. Let's go to this one here. Or last year we went mainly to Friday games. For example, a lot of blokes on their first time, what do? They get there Friday.
Yeah.
They go too hard and they wreck their whole weekend. Now, some of them just kick on through. And so it's honestly, it has to be in Brisbane, not just because, I'm a Queenslander. The place is perfect.
Yeah.
What other stadium has a street that you could block off that is literally a stone's throw where you can just walk up and down, walk up? You can go to a game, watch it, come back to Caxton Street, get on the beers, go back to the game and watch the next game. Like, it is perfect. So
And like, some people don't even go to the games.
Yeah.
Like, you can just stay on. You don't have to even.
There was plenty of people that just for example, on Saturday you didn't have a pass.
Yeah, I didn't go to.
So you just sat at the Caxton
on Saturday.
Yeah, just sat at the Caxton sink, and a lot of people do that.
A lot of people do that.
It's so good.
I honestly reckon. I said this last week, but I agree with it even more now. Magic Round by 2030 is going to be as big as Origin, biggest grand final weekend. If it stays in Brisbane, I reckon it's going to turn into one of those things where we remember Origin moments, right? We'll remember Valence to Fire's double forever because it was Magic Round.
Yeah,
it'll be things will be not like with Magic Round.
Anyway, Magic Round, don't take her anywhere else. Brizzy is a special place for Magic Round. Let's get into the games last night. I've already said bloke beer is on special in every celebration in New South Wales, Queensland. All right, won't get back to it. But make sure to grab a cask, because seriously, it's good stuff. Storm beat the Broncos. Munster and Grant, great game. Good first half, scrappy second half. But let's just talk about it. There's a few things to talk about. There's a lot to talk about, actually.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, really poor refereeing. We talk about when players have poor games, but I thought this was one of the this reffing performance, in my opinion, wasn't up to scratch.
And it just got worse and worse as the game progressed.
And it genuinely affected the game for both sides.
Yeah.
For both sides. Now, I'm not sitting here as a salty Broncos fan saying we were robbed, and I'm not sitting here saying that Storm were. Well, they clearly weren't because they won. But what I'm saying is I don't think either team had a fair chance at winning the game in a manner in which you could go, we totally won that game without any calls that went our way or didn't go our way.
Yeah, there was too many calls on either side that just kind of, I'm not going to say ruined it, but like...
Well, put it this way. As soon as Paddy Carrigan got sent to the bin, the game was over. That just ended the game. Like the Broncos, we'd already lost Adam Reynolds and we'd already had a 10 in the bin before that for a professional foul, which... if they're being consistent, I guess it's a 10 in the bin. But even with that professional foul, I'm like, I used to think the professional foul was only 10 in the bin if it was a try-scoring opportunity, and there's no way he gets to that ball.
Remus Smith's one?
Yeah, Remus Smith one. But look, I'm not going to argue that. It's a 50-50 one, whatever.
I will say, though, Remus Smith, even though it was definitely a penalty, he did very well.
Oh, he did massive. Like, you got this guy strong as anything.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, Rissoling Suoliti 2 weeks ago. He can't take a tiny little elbow.
And it's like a little elbow from
And
Murphy.
it's not Smith's fault.
Not good on Smith. Well done.
It's not Remus. The environment has been created. If you make something look dramatic, they will look at it. Yeah,
but he wasn't getting anywhere near that ball.
Like he may have got a 6 again, but there's no way he's scoring that try.
Yeah, no.
There's no way he's scoring that try, in my opinion. But I'm not that's one of the least egregious things. I can live with that. Herbie.
Yeah, I didn't mind that
That's
one.
fine. It's
Yeah.
like, yep, 10 in the bin. He did stick his arm out.
Yeah.
That's on Herbie. That's his fault. Now people blow. We'll go through like basically in order.
Yeah.
Reece Walsh's shoulder charge. First, well, look, I don't think that should ever be a penalty.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like, how else are you supposed to, like, what you're supposed to try and, first of all, when you actually look at it in slow-mo again, his arm does begin to wrap, like he doesn't have his arm tucked. It begins to wrap around after the fact.
But I reckon if you're just throwing your body at a try scorer, it should just be like,
Well, Buller last weekend,
yeah.
like, because it was low to the ground, no one says shoulder charge.
Yeah.
But there was no arm wrapping there.
I was worried when that happened. I was like, are they going to call this?
Yeah, it was like a cannonball into another bloke, not into his legs, into his shoulders, and it was a great try saver.
I'm trying to remember last night. So the reason it was no tries was Olam actually stepped out
And knocked on.
but he stepped out first before the shoulder charge. I wonder if they would have called shoulder charge or they would have just let it go, because I think they've done pretty well in not giving those shoulder charges.
I think
recently.
they've been pretty good.
Yeah,
I think they've
so
been
I don't think
pretty
they
good.
would have called it anyway.
And so so people blowing up about that. It's like he was out anyway. And I don't think they should call that a penalty. It's because it's like, if you're just going to throw your body at someone because that's the only option you have, you should be given some leeway in regards to tackling technique.
100%.
So that one I was like, got it right, well done, stayed strong, didn't go stupid. The Harry Grant one though.
The penalty try?
Harry Grant one. Absolute howler.
That was shocking.
We have to stop replaying this stuff in slow-mo. There are certain ones, if you want, like head highs and that, like I can cop slow-mo because you can get a real distinct, like, yep, definitely hit his head because it's a bit slower, or stepping out, or the try getting, I mean, even sometimes put downs. But anyway, that's another day for another story. Another story for another day. But these situations need to stop being in slow-mo, because every time, so let's say we saw that, what do you reckon, 6 times in slow-mo?
Oh, yeah.
It is only natural for the human brain to think that Harry Grant was playing in slow-mo, and his mindset, his speed of thinking was also in slow-mo. It is only human nature. If you played it at fast motion, you would see that he didn't have time to make any decisions about anything.
Yep.
He was literally just trying to kick the ball. That's it.
If I'm being completely honest, even when I was watching in super slow motion, I was still like, he's not disadvantaging. Was it Herbie on purpose?
Yeah,
like I get it.
Yeah, but people would think because it's in slow mo, he could have just pulled out of it completely.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? Because you just keep seeing it in slow mo, and then your brain just thinks, oh well, look at all that time he has to think. Look how long it takes him to get there. When you play it in fast motion, he's there in a heartbeat, like a heartbeat.
The thing that was annoying as well, and I get it's the rule, shoulder to shoulder. But like that's just not how it is. You can't be shoulder to shoulder the whole. Like people are different speed.
He tried to kick it. That's all. All that was happening. He was trying to kick the ball, and Herbie was jockeying the ball shielding the ball with his body. Because that's another thing. If you are kind of like shielding-ish with your body, you should be able to get shouldered in the back.
100%. You're shepherding the ball.
You're shepherding the ball. Like I don't. So that was a shocker.
That was a shocking.
That was a shocker. Like seriously, we've got to stop playing that stuff in slow mo. Look, it'll never happen. It'll never happen, but it just makes some things look so much worse than they are, and the players get smashed for it. Shocking call. Shouldn't have been a try. Then, obviously, the Herbie one, again, that is, look, if you're being consistent this year, yep, sweet. I can get why fans are annoyed, though, in regards to, like, he took a dive, but don't blame Remus Smith.
Nah.
Blame the environment that was created that rewards that. Then we have to get to, and this isn't even mentioning, what was it like? It ended up being like 28 penalties or something like that if you include the 6 against.
Or was it really?
It's like 20,
I felt that way. I haven't checked stats.
It was like 28. Check the stats.
I'll check now, yeah.
Check the stats. It was like 28 or something like that.
Jeez.
Then we get to the absolute howler of Paddy Carrigan. Absolute howler. Because I cannot believe for the life of me anyone watching that doesn't understand momentum and physics. Look, I'm not a smart man, Matty. I'm just a bloke with a huge beak that owns a beer and talks on a podcast. That's all I am. That's all I am. But I do understand the basics of physics. When you are coming from one direction and a guy bumps past you, you're going to swing around him. You're going to swing around him. That is all that happened with Paddy Carrigan. He literally swung around fell off. The only option Paddy had was in a heartbeat, in literally a millisecond, go, I am going to completely let go of this tackle because I may land on the bottom of his ankle with not my hips, like, what was it? He's like top of his arm or something like that, like his shoulder.
Yeah.
And then they had all that time to review it. They didn't just give a penalty, they sent him to the bin.
And that's what I think is the worst part, because if you want to sit here and argue with me that it was a hip drop, and look, whatever, then a penalty.
Another thing that shouldn't have been played in slow-mo.
Well, yeah.
Play it in full motion and tell me that's a hip drop.
Even if you think it's a hip drop, which I don't, but if you do.
Yeah.
How is it a sin bin? It was clearly an accident. So, like, absolute worst, it should have been a penalty.
Yeah.
Absolute worst if you believe it was a hip drop. It wasn't on purpose. Like, it was, it ruined the game because that was it. The game was over at that point.
And it was, what's crazy is up until that point, I was like, even if we lose this, and I was open to losing the game. I even said on the captain's run, this weekend's not about result for Broncos. It's just about going up against a top tier side and putting in an 80-minute performance. And everything else after that will take care of itself. And that was in regards to the season. Like, it's just about building towards the season. Up until the Paddy Carrigan point, even if we lost 16-10 or 18-10, I would have been happy to say I think we're premiership threats because we'd lost Adam Reynolds. We'd been like our main guy, and yet we'd hung in against a Melbourne Storm away at Melbourne. I was ready to go. We've gone from a top 4 side to, I think there's a chance we could genuinely win the comp this year. Now, I'm actually, and this is going to make people going to go, oh, you're an idiot, I don't agree. Like, we've had all these great wins and you haven't said it. I'm actually closer to thinking Broncos can win the comp this year after seeing that performance last night than I am in previous weeks, because of the fact they had 2 sin bins, Adam Reynolds gone as well. And look, did they have that extra flair to finish the sets off and score points without Reynolds? That'll take time for sure. But did they look that much worse? They didn't really look that much worse. Now, it's one game, it's a small sample size. Obviously, you want Adam Reynolds in that side. But it just shows you how far they have come as a side, that Adam Reynolds can go in the first 10 essentially, and they can stay in the battle with Melbourne with 2 sin bins.
Yeah, not just not capitulate, they can stay in it.
Stay in it and maybe even win it, like they didn't obviously.
And also, like, Storm deserved the win, but like, they scored 2 pretty lucky tries at the end too.
Yeah, we're not even through with the ref guy, so don't worry. And so... Yeah, so I was willing to... It's hard to make a judgment from the game, though, because the ref was so impactful and just so not up to standard, in my opinion, that it's hard to say whether... Was it a cracking game by both sides and they were just at a top-tier level?
Yeah.
Or was it a stop-start affair with so many ups and downs, ins and outs?
You're right, and it was 26, I just counted. 26, like, penalties / 60 games.
Far out, let them play.
This is a... Call it a top 4 game. Who cares? Like, call it a top 4 game, right? Heavyweights, down in Melbourne. Brisbane haven't won there. We haven't beaten Melbourne in 12 goes or something. Yeah. Like, and you know, Brisbane have been great, but this was a fucking big test.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. Like, I think, I agree. I think, yep, they showed enough last night. But both teams didn't get the chance to because it was so stop-start, and then it became so scrappy, and then the game was a bit of a headache, to be honest.
As I said, you can't really measure much outside of, like, you could say maybe the first 60 minutes, you could get a bit of a gauge. So, like, both sides, I don't think should be disappointed. I don't think the Broncos should be disappointed. I don't think the Storm should be disappointed. Anyway, Paddy Carrigan gets sent to the bin. I think they score another try.
Yeah, I think they scored a try when he was
off. They scored 2 tries in both times when they were off, 10 in the bin.
They did, yeah.
Then Olam comes in on Reece Walsh. Jams in. Reece Walsh passes the ball. It hits Olam's head. Xavier Coates scores one of the best tries you'll ever see. And this is from people I've been saying, I don't know what's going on with Xavier Coates. He hasn't really gone on to the level I thought he would go on to. And then you see him do something like that. and go, wow, he is. If he does that week in, week out in regards to plays, does big moments like that, he is everything we ever thought he was. It is completely robbed by the referees. We wait for the video ref to adjudicate on everything. The one play that happens in a heartbeat, the ref goes, boom, straight away, knock on.
Yeah, it doesn't even let him score.
Doesn't even just go, like, let's see what happened first. Like, and clearly, like, Coates got the ball straight away. All he had to do was wait, like, 3 seconds and just go, all right, we'll go to... Remember what happened with the Luke Brooks Burgess one?
Tom Burgess one, yeah.
Yeah, and he let it, and we all gave the refs so much raps for that. How smart of the ref. He deserves massive raps for allowing play to continue and then making a decision.
And not that, because I was Jared Sutton. I'll never forget it. Because obviously once the whistle goes, that's it. Because players play the whistle. But Gerard Sutton was about to blow his whistle. So he, in his head, made a decision and then took it. It's not like he said he thought play on. He thought there was going to be a stoppage. He thought there was a try or a knock on or whatever. We'll go to the video, whatever it was. Like, he had the presence of mind to put the whistle in his mouth and then just take it out. Yeah. And that's what should have happened.
Should have happened.
Last
and
night.
that would have been on the highlight reel forever. Like, incredible try from the Melbourne Storm and obviously Xavier Coates. So,
I had Xavier Coates in my multi too.
Oh, did ya? Oh my God. What a great try.
Yeah,
and there's another one.
But I got robbed, so I didn't
The Reece Walsh quick tap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God! Now that may not have been a try because they all stopped playing. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
but we would have got a quick play the ball at the very least.
I watched the. By the way, 9 Now they have like minis on their app. So I watched it again because I watched the game last night with my family. So I wanted to watch it again like this morning to get like a better gauge. That it's so good, the 9 Now mini, because it goes for like 26 minutes.
It's the best.
But because it's so condensed, it's basically all it is so like Matt Thompson, for example, he would like do the play, but then it's all the analysis of like Joey and Billy and that. So it's just 26 minutes of Andrew Johns and Billy Slater like explaining stuff. It's if you miss a game, watch the night.
How long does it come out after the game?
I watched it this morning.
So the next day.
Must
and
be
do they redo it? As in, like, do Billy and Joey?
No.
Or they just use audio from the game?
So they use the audio from when there's a stoppage and a replay, and then it's Andrew Johns like explaining why something happened or like why this happened, why that happened.
Yeah.
But they condense it all into that. It is a dream if you just want to hear like good chat.
How good. Well, speaking of 9 Now, stream live NRL games for free on 9 Now. Tonight we have the huge Panthers Roosters game. Then on Sunday Arvo, we have two teams trying to bounce back after Magic Round. Manly v the Sharks. The biggest games and the best commentary for free. Get on and stream it now. Anywhere, anytime. Again, it's just another one of those things, guys. First of all, I think their commentary is better. The app is outstanding.
Yeah.
No buffering for me. No issues last night. You've got the minis as well. But if they can see the numbers tick up with the bloke community watching on 9 Now, like for example, let's say you have the other networks. For the 9 Now games, if you could just switch it over 9 Now and show them that the numbers are ticked up, then we get even more access to everything that they've got over there at 9. So make sure the games that you can, watch them on 9 Now, guys. It's completely free. And I'm telling you right now, this like myth that has been created that you sit through all these ads, it is 100% not true.
Yeah, nah. You don't.
You don't. Yeah. You get one or two ads after a try. Like you get one ad after a try pretty much.
Yeah. And it tells you like on the thing, it says like, it gives you the countdown.
Yeah, it gives you the countdown and everything. Yeah. So make sure when you can, guys, just switch over 9 Now. Completely free. Just 9now.com.au. It's so good. But yeah, so anyway, Storm beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
Are the Broncos premiership threats now? I'm closer to saying they are, but I'm still not there yet. Are the Storm back? I don't think they're back, but also a good win.
But as you said, it's so hard to say.
Yeah,
because of the whole.
Put it this way:
start.
if the ref was like, if the ref had no impact on the game, and there weren't sin bins everywhere, and Storm won by that margin, I wouldn't say they were back, but I would be like much more impressed, which is unfair. The Storm did deserve to win the game.
Yeah,
if they didn't send people for 10 in the bin and whatever. So yeah, look. Are the Storm back? I'm not sure yet. But look, to be honest, I think we need to stop, and Cam made a good point, we need to stop judging this current Storm side on past great sides.
It's a good point, yeah.
I don't think the Storm will be back to their 2021 where they were just like breaking records and that.
Yeah, like 19
And the only reason why I'm comparing to 2021 is because that's like the same-ish without Cam Smith, obviously.
Yeah.
Post-Cam Smith.
Post-Cam Smith,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
It's going to be hard to be that without Pappenhausen. I do really think they've lost so much experience. Jesse Bromwich, Kenny Bromwich, Kofusi.
That's obviously it's come to light now how underrated those losses were because those guys are killing it.
I know.
Redcliffe.
It's going to be, are they back? I think it's going to be very difficult to get back because they have a different roster with key players obviously having moved on.
I think as well, we need to see Melbourne put a month of footy together.
Yeah, exactly. A month of footy together. But the good thing is Munster was firing, Grant was firing. I thought Christian Welsh was really good.
So what I love about Munster and Grant, and obviously everyone already knows this, but it just came to me again when I was watching it. They're obviously two elite players, but they're two guys, and to have two of these guys in your team is a godsend. They're two guys that even if the forwards aren't, if the forwards are kind of getting dominated or whatever, they're two guys that can just pull something out of nowhere from any part of the field. And to have two guys like that is there's just warning signs all the time.
Harry Grant gives me anxiety. Every time he gets into that, when he's playing the Broncos, every time he gets into dummy half and there's even a micro speck, I'm talking a millimetre of a chance, he takes it.
And he always makes the right option.
Oh my God. And he blows whole sets apart. And you go, fuck, we're on the back foot now. They're going to get all the way to there. I thought Munster's kicking game outside of one kick was really good. I think they did a lot of homework on Selwyn Cobbo, and I think there's this illusion that Selwyn, although he has these big moments in the air sometimes, he also has a tendency to drop a few. Yeah. And I think they did some really good video work because you would think most people that don't do a lot of video work, who would you rather kick to? Selwyn Cobbo or Jesse Arthurs?
Yeah, you'd straight up be like Jesse Arthurs.
Jesse Arthurs.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, we've looked at video and we've seen Selwyn can sometimes lose concentration, and they peppered him. So, yeah, great. Good win by the Storm, though.
Yeah.
I think, as I said, don't take anything away from the victory from the Storm.
Yeah.
They deserve to win. They didn't make those calls. And also, they had hard calls against them.
Yeah.
That you could argue 2 tries weren't tries, or at least one wasn't a try.
Yeah, it was a good win from Storm. It was a pretty good to great effort from both sides, but extremely hard to
take
judge.
much away from.
Yeah.
And both teams were dudded with calls. There's absolutely no denying that. Mate, what is it? I'm going up to Byron this weekend, celebrate the birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, birthday yesterday. Mrs. cooked me some cookies, had some ice cream.
Have you been to Byron?
Yeah, I'm from the Gold Coast.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Mate, Byron's so good. So good.
I've never been to Byron.
Never been?
Nah.
Well, it's just as long as the weather is not cold, which it usually, it can get cold obviously in the winter months. It's just a cruisy place. The only issue or worry for Byron is it getting too commercialised, because I grew up on the Gold Coast and I remember the Gold Coast being way less city-like. Now, it's still holding its charm. The Gold Coast have done pretty well, but it's like back in the day, there was no city whatsoever. It wasn't built up, no traffic. It was almost like a beach town, whereas now it's like basically a destination, a city destination.
Yeah, of course.
Sunshine Coast, they're actually taking active stance on making sure they don't turn into a big city.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which is smart because you don't. If you become just another big city, then you lose your holiday destination to it. Yeah. And so Byron, it's going to be interesting because so many rich people buy there, drives up the price of real estate, and then the locals that have been there all their lives have to move further and further out. It's the cycle of, I guess, capitalism, really.
Yeah.
One spot becomes popular, rich people want to live there, or they all hang around each other. Then the locals that have been there their whole life slowly get pushed out into the outer regions, or they have to live in a shoebox in the city. So, yeah, happens. That's been happening since the dawn of time, really. Is people owning land and then someone else coming in going, nope, see you later.
Hopefully it can keep its what it really means. Like Byron Bay.
It's I think they're a lot more. Most governments, I hope anyway, are a lot more cognizant of not losing what makes that area so special now.
Yeah.
But oh man, when you go to Sydney, it is just Meriton after Meriton building going up.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Like I remember we first moved into Rosebery, and at the start it was relatively quiet, and then it just got louder and louder. Then we moved out to Alexandria. It's still
Where were you in Rosebery?
like just down the road from where I am now.
Okay, yeah.
In Alexandria, it's still kind of quiet, but it is in the space of a year, or like we've been there for a few years now, but in the space of like 3 years, it is way more congested than it was 3 years ago.
The roads around here are getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like, have you noticed near so I've lived here all my whole life. Green Square Station didn't exist when I was growing up. It was just dirt. Now there's obviously all those Crown Towers and all that around there. But have you seen they're building like 3 huge new apartment blocks, and I think they're building a school as well around here. So it's just going to get,
Mate, the amount of people coming in, like it'll just be wall to wall traffic.
Yeah.
Like you won't be able to get a park anywhere. I mean, you still can't anyway. Like you come to this studio, if you don't get a park in a car park, you literally have to drive 5 minutes down the road to get a park.
The reason you and I walk is because if we have one person come in, they need to take that one spot.
They need to take the one spot that we have. Hurry up.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Oh man, and that's where you go. Like, look, I understand it. Like, people need to live close to their work, and it's real estate, and blah blah blah. But sometimes you're like, surely we could plan this a little bit better than just like cramming everyone just straight into one spot.
Yeah.
Because Sydney's going to get to the point where it's like LA traffic or whatever. You've heard
I've seen the
and it's just
stories.
like, what? No one wants to live in that.
Sydney traffic's already shithouse.
It's so bad, so bad. But yeah, it's
How good Byron Bay. Are you going today?
Yeah, this Arvo.
Yeah,
Going to go out with my brother and their family, which is good. And as I said last night, I had my missus made me some cookies and ice cream, and it was fantastic.
What kind of
M&M cookies?
Oh,
They were so good, bro. So fucking good, man.
The peanut M&Ms, the normal M&Ms.
Normal M&Ms, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, nice.
So good, unbelievable. It's like when you're so used to not eating sugar or trying not to, when you do, it's like, oh. But yeah, anyway, huge games this weekend. Don't forget, if you're going to have a feed, don't forget, guys, hungriest player this week was Cotter. So use code Cotter to get free delivery when you spend $15 or more. So code Cotter, you spend $15 or more, you get free delivery with the code Cotter. Also, and this is a separate deal, you can't use them together, new customers to Menulog who listen to Bloke, head to offers.menulog.com.au/bloke to get $15 off as well. There'll be a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
What's your favourite food?
Very simple when it comes to this. I could live off spaghetti bolognese the rest of my life.
Really?
I love it. It is just, I know, I tell you what it is, and I only discovered this recently because I can't smell that good, and actually I can't really smell at all. And I only learned recently that affects your taste. So I reckon I have really bland taste buds. So I like a lot of like very simple stuff. Like probably if it's not spaghetti, I love going steak. But when it goes to like going out to a restaurant, I like going to French. So I'm pretty all over the place. But if I had to pick a food to
So you basically like food?
I like food, yeah.
Yeah.
But like in different scenarios. So like if I'm going to the pub, I'll have a steak or a palmy. But
So you're a normal human being?
I'm a normal human being.
And I asked you for your fucking favourite food.
My
I didn't
favourite
ask you to say fucking, I like all food. Yeah, we all like food, you idiot.
Spaghetti.
Jesus Christ. So you like food?
I like food.
That's what a groundbreaking stop the press headline tomorrow, Daily Telegraph. Matty the Waterboy likes food.
That's what you come to this podcast for this groundbreaking information.
Exclusives. Exclusive. Matty loves food. Well, you didn't ask because you're a dog, but I reckon pizza's probably my favourite. Do you know how podcasts work?
Well, so I was so rattled that like I just
like I ask you something,
yeah,
and then you ask me something.
You're right. I'm sorry.
You know what? It's because you think you're the big time now, eh? And you think that you're like Josh Adokar sitting across and I'm interviewing you. That's what's going on right now, eh?
That's right. Yeah.
You fucking dog. See, I tell you what, guys. You give people a platform, gets to their head, all of a sudden they don't need you anymore.
I just need like a little drop on my ego.
Yeah. All of a sudden they don't need you no more. And Matty is a perfect example of that. Always happens. Story as old as time. Give someone an opportunity. They love you for the first half of it. And all of a sudden, they need poor Beak no more. Poor Beak.
All right. What kind of pizza?
Oh, just cheese. Straight cheese.
Really?
Yeah, straight cheese.
I tell you what, and like, this is a weird diversion, but you know, like there's some movie scenes that like stick with you forever. This is a weird one. In Home Alone 2, when Kevin gets in the limo and they give him this cheese pizza and it's like steaming hot, I still think about that and it makes me hungry.
Really?
Yeah, it's
really?
just cheese pizza, but it's
Do you remember what brand they gave him or no? It was just a pizza?
I don't have a clue. Just pizza, yeah.
I tell you, we're in Italy and we're coming back from, oh man, where were we coming back from? Maybe Positano? I don't know. Anyway, we're coming back somewhere south of Italy, so probably Positano. And you've got to come up, so Positano's in the south of Italy on the Amalfi Coast. But you've got to come up towards, as you come north, you got to go through a place called Naples. And Naples is like, maybe we'll come from Florence. Anyway, Naples is like, it's a beautiful city, but it's rough. At least parts of it's like, it's a tough city. You know, when you get there, it's an eye-opener. But the best pizza in the world is there, allegedly. It was on Sex in the City and all these other, people.
Also, it's famous.
It's famous. Yeah, right. It's famous. And so we're on the train. We got an hour to go and get the pizza. It's a 15-minute walk. Come back, get on the train. Then we stop in Milan for like 30 minutes. And then I don't know, we head up somewhere else. I forget it now. But somewhere up north of Italy. Maybe even, anyway. So we stop for the hour. And we're like, we're going to be sweet. We walk to the pizza stall. And it's just like in the back of... Because what people don't realise here in Australia is if you think Sydney's busy, go to Paris, Milan, any of these, like these are huge. And it is like Tuesday. It'll be a Tuesday. And it is chockers, like everywhere. Anyway, so we're in Naples and we're walking. It says 15 minutes at 11 in the morning. So it's 11 in the morning. We turn the corner. It's just down this... There's no huge sign. It's not this crazy. It's world famous though. Everyone knows what it is. It's 11 in the morning. We turn the corner because it's supposed to open at 11. There is a lineup around the corner to get this pizza. That's how good it is.
Really? Like just on a random day?
Just a random Tuesday. Just a random day. That's how popular and world famous this pizza is.
Holy shit.
And so when you get there, you get a ticket and there's this Italian dude. He sits out the front and he like yells aggressively at people. Like angry as shit. But then when you ask him for something, he's nice. So like really like almost like if he spoke like that a lot in Australia, he'd get in fights all the time. But in Italy, I don't know, there must be a cultural speaking. Like you see a lot of like ethnic people that will speak loudly with their hands and it's like normal for them to do that.
Well, my girlfriend's Italian and I went to Christmas.
So you know what I'm talking about. And you're sitting there going, is there about to be a punch on or like they speaking normally? What the hell's going on? So whereas in Australia, if you do that, it's like, okay, there's something about to happen.
Something going on here, yeah.
Anyway, this dude is like yelling aggressively. I'm just like making me, what's weird is it shows you how, I consider myself like a quite level-headed guy. I don't carry on like a dickhead, but it shows you how we all have an ego. Because like even me, I was like grating at the like fuck this guy, like I don't know. It was almost like a challenge. It was like I was a chimp and he was a chimp, and he was like aggressively challenging me. As I said, I don't know what like I wasn't going to do anything about it, but then like so we're looking at the clock because what they do is they just let a certain amount in the pizza shop, and you get your ticket. And you get your pizza and you can sit down and whatever. But it's a small shop. On top of that, world famous pizza. Guess how much?
How much?
Like €5.
Oh.
So you're talking like cheaper, as cheap. I think it might even be $2.50. Anyway, nearly as cheap as
Is it like the whole pizza or is it like the big slice?
Whole pizza.
Oh, really?
We're talking as cheap as Domino's down the road.
Oh, shit.
And I don't know why they don't raise their prices. Anyway, we're in the line and we're going, oh my God. Oh my God. Our train leaves. We're going to miss it. So we went to the front of the line and this guy that's been aggressively alpha dogging everyone for like 30 minutes. I'm like, listen, with my hands up like that, like, listen, bro, we are from Australia. We have a train to catch in about 30 minutes. Is there any chance that instead of us getting the pizza there, we could just get it and go? And so he yells at the top of his line, camp, as if to tell the cooks to push out ahead of everyone else. Everyone was fine with it. They got it. And so I ended up doing so he was like actually a really nice guy, did us a massive favor, but he just spoke super
just like
aggressive.
Loud and aggressive.
Yeah, just loud and aggressive. Because I was thinking like, there's no way this guy's going to let us skip the line. Because everyone was okay. Everyone gets it. You got to train like we're Australians.
100%.
Everyone understands. And so I thought this guy was going to be like, fuck off. Like, I'm not going to give you I'm not giving you nothing. Anyway, so we get the pizza and we're like, so annoying. We can't just sit down and eat it in regards to sitting inside the thingo. And we're like running back to make sure that we get to the train station.
That's stress.
We get to the train station and we've got about 15 minutes before the train gets there. So we sit on this gutter in Naples, like absolute, like pretty putrid gutter. We have the first pizza and we go, oh, that's good. It's good, but it's not like mind blowing.
Yeah.
So we had the second pizza expecting it to be, so it was extremely good, the first one. The second pizza, we both take a bite at the same time and we both look at each other and go, oh my God. So what they do is so if you ask for a margarita or cheese pizza, they'll put just different types of cheese on it, but you don't get to choose. They'll just give you what they think they want to give you.
I get it, yeah.
And so you don't know what you're biting into. The second one we bit into was like this smoked kind of, anyway, it was easily the best pizza I've ever had in my life. Like, so me and my wife are sitting on this like little gutter, eating this pizza going, oh mate, this is literally the best ever. And this Italian old guy walks past and he's like, bon appetito. And so we eat the pizza, we get on the train and we head obviously up to Milan, but it was unbelievable. The rush, the madness to get it, the crazy guy at the front, all that kind of stuff.
Because I imagine like during it, you would have been like anxious and stressed.
Yeah, anxious as.
But
and
like,
also,
once you threw it,
it's getting to we were so close to missing the train that it was getting to the point that we were going to leave without getting our pizzas. So we were just going to,
okay.
and so we were nearly at the point of being upset that we were here at the world's best, like voted by Michelin, everything, the world's best pizza place in Naples, and we were literally inside it, but we didn't eat the pizza.
Yeah.
And we were thinking that's going to happen, but because of this loud, aggressive alpha dog Italian dude
helping
us out, we got to eat it in a gutter in Naples. And it's such a great memory to have.
just
like,
adds to
well,
the
it's just
art.
like to think that I'd be over, with my best friend, the love of my life, in Naples, eating the best pizza in the world. Like that truly is like the only reason that I want money, like as in to be successful, is obviously health, pay the bills, and to be able to have experiences like that. I don't care about cars. Like, look, sometimes the ego gets the better of you, and sometimes you want to be like, yeah, I'm the man, and fuck this, that, and like, and you just got to be like, mate, that's just your ego speaking. Like, you really aren't. Like, one thing could go wrong, and all of a sudden you're not. But that's the only reason why I would want money is to travel and have moments with my family or my wife, health, with the kids, and obviously pay your bills.
I agree though. Like I get so much joy out of like paying for an experience for myself and Courtney. Like it's just you get something out of it that like it's like you're paying for the good feeling that you get.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Man, what an experience. And just every that just adds to the memory. The memory you'll cherish forever. I love that they don't let you pick. Like there's some restaurants in the city. I think there's Bistecca, the steak place, which is like they don't let you choose how to do the steak. They're just like let us do it. I like those places because they know what they're good at.
Yeah, and also like it's a confidence in our ability to deliver what
100%. It makes you think, oh, these guys know.
And also you're getting a unique experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not walking into a restaurant and just telling them what you want at each restaurant, and you're just going to different restaurants. Like you're literally getting that experience from that place.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many good memories. We went to Versailles, and so Versailles, Marie Antoinette used to live there, and she was like this famous like queen that was famously beheaded by the people, but she used to be loved by the people. And so we went to Versailles, man. This place, like...
What country is that?
That's in Paris.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So in Paris,
So
it's Paris, pretty sure. Because first you go to the Louvre, because so the taxi driver was like, go to the Louvre first, don't go to the Versailles, because Versailles will ruin the Louvre for you. Now the Louvre is cool. The Louvre is really cool because it's basically all history. It's incredible. But then you go out to Versailles and you see where they used to live, because they lived at the Louvre, then they left and they went to an even better place, which was built by one of the kings, King Philip maybe. And so just the memories of like walking through that they used to live there. Some of the places in the higher levels they keep as exactly as what they used to live like. But there's also this back place that was just Marie Antoinette's, her house that she would go to, that you catch like this like little, it's almost like a golf cart out there. And it was great because we went out there as it was late in the day, so there was barely anyone there. The sun was setting, and I just couldn't believe that we're at this historic place with you couldn't see anyone else in these gardens. Man, traveling it's as I said, it's like literally the one thing that that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do.
Isn't it the best? Yeah.
Oh man, I just want to experience all these incredible places. And
like, I remember when I went to America and Canada just before COVID. And so I like went through America and then skied in Whistler, and COVID was like starting to ramp up as we were over there. And then I haven't been anywhere overseas since. But I remember like especially during COVID when everything was shut, just thinking, fuck, I'm so grateful that I got to
do
that before. Yeah. I went to China a few years ago. You can't even go there anymore.
You can't go to China right now.
I don't think so, yeah.
I would love to go to China.
The Great Wall was one of the best.
Really?
Oh,
just so epic.
It's just amazing.
Yeah. Because you forget, like, we often focus on Western history and maybe, Rome and Greece, and that's our kind of history path or whatever. But there's a whole other almost different train track of history, of Eastern history of China, Japan. Japan's actually older than China, which is crazy to think. That we don't even consider, you know what I mean? Because that's Eastern history.
Yeah.
But it is just, they have their Rome, they have all the stuff that we have, they have it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Europe was absolutely, it almost feels like a fever dream now. Like it doesn't seem real that we got to go there for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah, that was a good stint.
Far out. I would do anything to be able to do that again this off season, but I doubt it.
Absolutely.
I doubt it. I'm too busy running this bloody beer company, mate.
Has this been a year now? The MIDI? Bit over?
I think it's, when was Origin 1, so not even a year.
This isn't even a year old yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
time and effort.
People are loving the MIDI. They're seriously loving the MIDI.
I noticed it in I don't know what the numbers are like, but a lot of Queenslanders like the MIDI.
Yeah, well, it's actually picked up heaps in New South Wales, heaps, because people are just responding to it. Like they're getting it and going, oh, and they're like repeat buyers. Same with the lager. Like the lager still outsells the MIDI, but for it to be so quick in the numbers that it's doing is pretty incredible. And we're hoping that it becomes key retail. And what key retail is in the beer industry is, so there's a thing called ALM, and ALM, they're a distribution company. So basically, all the independent bottle stores use a company called ALM. And just because if you had all separate distribution companies, it'd be too expensive.
Yeah.
Like distribution for beer is like, it's why we don't buy it online, because you got to pay an extra $10 or $20 freight for your beer, and you're like, no, I'll just go to Bottle-O. And but key retail, basically, they go, well, what we'll do is all the places that are under our banner ALM, like Celebrations and all that, we will say to them, you don't have to stock mid-strength, but if you do, you get these really good deals.
Yeah.
And once we do that, it'll be in way more stores. But the beer industry, people don't realize, I mean, they probably do. Like most people that kind of like focus, like have a real think about with the beer industry, they kind of only look at the big wins and go, oh, look at that beer. You just, mate, start your own beer and you'll sell it for billions to whatever. But it's actually really hard to crack into the beer industry because the margins are tiny. They are tiny because, like, for example, we're not a craft beer in regards to, we don't sell ourselves as like, I could never feel comfortable, like our lager, I would never be like, oh, here's $80 for a lager. Like,
it just,
that's not what the bloke community is.
Nah, not at all.
We would drink your 4X, your VB, your Great Northern. That's usually what we drink. So it's like, why would I, go and be a real crafty beer? And then, there are some people that enjoy rugby league that love craft beers, but most of them, they're drinking Great Northern 4X, VB, Hans Superdry, all that kind of stuff. So the toughest thing for like Bloke in regards to pricing is like we have to make it competitive. But because we contract brew, we don't have our own brewery because that's like I think people think Bloke is bigger than it is because it is so well known.
It's everywhere, yeah.
But we're a small team. We're a small team. And so we contract brew. And the only way you're ever going to make money in the beer in regards to like the area in which we price our beer is if you hit scale. And like what scale means is basically you're selling so much cases of beer that you can brew a lot at once, which brings costs down because every time you have to brew like smaller amounts, it costs more. It's like anything. Like when you order a lot of things, you always get a discount. Why? Because they can make a small margin on a lot rather than a big margin on not a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's why it's so hard for us to be. That's why we invest in price. And like for example, in reality, we should really probably be selling the beer for like $75, $80.
Yeah.
But as I said, I know that the Bloke community, they're not going to do that. They're not going to buy that. So we play the long game and go, look, let's get it out there for a competitive price. And then in 5 years' time, when we can hit scale, like maybe we do build a big, huge brewery, or we partner with a big, huge brewery, then we actually can make a little bit of a margin because it's cheaper to brew because we're brewing at scale.
So beer's a long play, a long term.
It's long term, a lot of capital, but the exit can be huge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so it's like anything, like anything that has these huge results is super hard, and anything that's easy to do, like just to start up, like for example, clothing companies, they're relatively easy to start up. Like we've got we've got merch in that. They're relatively easy. You put a shirt, get a bunch of shirts,
yeah,
put some print on it. But do they hold the same value as, say, a beer company? Well, not really, because a beer company is something that you buy each week. You get down to your local, you grab your six-pack, you grab your case. Do you buy a shirt every week? No, you don't. Are you wearing the same brand that you had 15 years ago?
Definitely not.
Usually not. But there are some that break the mold. Like, for example, I think the guys at G'd Up are killing it. They did I think what I love about the G'd Up, first of all, if you're, you see Bloke and you see all these other companies and you go, wow, Bloke and that must be going really good. G'd Up are going crazy good. Like we're talking otherworldly good. They've gone international and they're just moving in silence to a degree. Like obviously they advertise and everything like that, but you wouldn't, because they don't have huge podcasts, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but when you're talking about youngish entrepreneurs, I hate that word, but that are killing it, G'd Up are doing it so well. Because what I love as well about G'd Up, and I hope you know what G'd Up is, obviously. Yeah, you see it everywhere. Is it's almost like it's like Bloke, but for the new emerging Aussie person. Do you know what I'm saying? So like Western Sydney, that culture has just exploded.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's just as Australian now. Even though, like, I know, like, people like to hold on to the history of being, like, Aussie Ocker bloke, and the typical image of an Aussie bloke is, yourself. You're literally, like, the typical... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas in the next 20 to 30 years, it's going to be multicultural.
For sure.
It already is multicultural.
Yeah.
And that area, Western Sydney, has created its own unique culture.
Western Sydney's on the map.
They're on the map. And so what I love about G'd Up, it's almost like a representation of that newish Aussie bloke. It's not the same as Bloke, but it's parallel to Bloke, put it that way. Like, whereas obviously Bloke is more like, country lad, sinking beer, watching footy. Theirs is almost city, willing to pay more for fashion, love their hoodies, love their jackets, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're absolutely, they're going so mad. And the fact that the good thing about what they're doing as well is they've gone international. So they're no longer playing in just Australia. They're playing across the whole world. If you're big in Australia compared to being big in America, 330 million people.
Yeah, so many.
In a huge, like, Australia's such a big, we're so spread out from each other too. Like, people in Perth don't give a shit about what's happening in Queensland.
Yeah.
And so there's an example of I mean, they've been around for a while. I think they started a while ago and then he stopped and then they started it again. But they're an example of a clothing company that could eventually exit and make a lot. I mean, they're already fucking making so much cash. They're killing it. But most clothing companies, they don't stand the test of time.
Yeah.
And they come and go. And that's what in regards to beer, it's so hard to get into. It's so capital intensive. You don't make much profit initially. It's all about hitting scale. But a bloke that drank a VB when he was 18, he'll drink that till he's 70.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, and as I said, what I love about G'd Up is they're representing more than clothes, and it's actually a culture that they're representing. And that's why I do think a brand like G'd Up could be around for quite a while. Whereas there are other clothing brands where it's just like you're putting on a light, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but some of them are just, they come, they go, and
sure.
whatever. And I only use clothing because we do it.
We do it too. Yeah.
We do it. So I know what the process is compared, and I know how capital intensive it is compared to, like, perfect example, like you brew a batch of beers, it's going to cost you $70,000. So boom, there you go. Like, that's just one batch. So that's what, 1,500 cases of beer or whatever. And also tax excise is crazy. Tax excise is essentially 50%. It's not. It's like 42 or something, but it's essentially 50. Whereas clothes, you can go, I'm going to get 100 shirts. I'm going to print something on them. I'm going to make about a 40%. Some of them make more margin, but I'm going to just go minimum, a 40% margin on each shirt that I sell. Next time I'm going to buy 150 shirts, 200 shirts. You can go.
Yeah, so the margin's always kind of there.
It's always kind of there, and you can always just keep building. Whereas like with beer, you're not even going to make margin your first. You might make $3, $2, $1. You might lose $5. Whereas a shirt, if you print it and you for $12 and you sell it for, we sell it for cheap, well, I consider it cheap, $49.95. Yeah. But a lot of other companies, they might sell it for $80. You're making big margin on that, big margin. And so, the beer industry, it's super competitive, hyper competitive, but it's like anything in life. The reward could be whatever you want it to be, really. Like, look at Stone and Wood. Look what Bolter did.
Yeah.
Another dude to shout out, Manshake.
Oh,
the great Adam McDougall. So smart what he did. Far out. So smart. Like, Aussie-fying weight loss.
Yeah.
Speaking simply to blokes, not this like, what I love, and this is just looking outside, looking in, what I loved about what he did is that often protein is focused at gym junkies, like get big, get ripped. There's a dude on the front, he's shredded out of his mind, trend out of his mind, steroids out of his mind. What I thought Adam McDougall did so perfectly is he identified most people trying to get healthy are not gym junkies.
No, yeah.
They are normal Aussie blokes that their wife or kids are saying, you need to get healthy because we want you to be around for us. And you deliver them really simple, and look, it's a very like dad joke-ish kind of content, but that's the market. That's the market. Is genius. And he exited for reportedly 400 million.
Millions, yeah.
And so I don't know how much percentage of the company he owned by that stage. So it's not to say that he would have got 400 million from that, but he would have got a fair whack.
I love as well that their slogan was lose the beer gut without losing the beers.
Yeah.
That just appeals to everyone.
It appeals to everyone. And it's 100% right. Like, you having a few beers on the weekend is not the reason why you are overweight.
Yeah.
It's your day-to-day diet and making sure you're just having less calories than you burn more calories than you eat.
Yeah.
Like, it really is that simple. And also, the Manshake, it's a great product. It's what I use.
Yeah.
100%. And that's not even, I'm not saying that you can go back, you can scroll back on my Instagram from like years ago and you'll see me with a picture with it.
Oh, okay.
I genuinely use it because it's a good product. And,
there you go.
And also, like, Adam McDougall seems like a bloke that I can trust.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And then, like, and that's not, I don't think that's marketing. I think he genuinely does give a shit.
Yeah.
He genuinely does give a shit. So, Manshake have killed it. And that's why I always like.
Still everywhere too.
It's going to get bigger. Yeah. It's going to get bigger. And then they released I think the woman shake or the lady shake.
Oh, did they?
Nice. Yeah. And so I always, when people like young entrepreneurs or whatever, again, I hate that word. I don't even know what it means. Like entrepreneur, like everyone, if you work in it for another company, you're technically an entrepreneur yourself because you're working just to get promoted to earn more money. Like everyone is just working to earn more money.
It's such an eye-rolly word too.
Whatever
calls
it's totally poisoned.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, what I tell people that are like, oh, I want to get into business. First of all, I tell them, I don't know shit about business. That's what I tell them. I say, I don't know shit. I'm so new to it. I'm just doing my best. If you want to know, like people that have a master's in business, it's guys like Mark Boris.
Yeah.
If I could recommend to anyone that is interested in getting into business, there is only one person on the internet you should be listening to. It's Boris. This guy is a genius when it comes to business. I like to think that I'm relatively switched on. When I have chats with him, he hits me with questions that like, not only did I not know to think of them, it's like an unknown. I didn't even know that it existed to think of them. He is a genius and his advice is bang on every single time. But young people with business that come to me, like they always want to do the glitzy and the glamour product. Like, I want to have a fashion label like Gucci, or I want a craft beer like Stone and Wood, and the really high ritzy stuff. And I'm always like, guys, the mass market isn't high and ritzy. The mass market is your everyday bloke.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in your ego of wanting to look like the man and killing it, when instead think about what is the demographic that I'm trying to sell a product to. Are you selling to yourself and your own ego, or are you selling something to a specific demographic? What are their needs and wants? Give them that. And it's like with bloke. Everyday blokes love their footy. They're blokey, and they should be proud of being blokey. But at the same time, they're also not emotionless zombies walking around that everyone seems to paint blokes like. We're not like that. We care about a lot of things. We care about people in our lives. We have chats with each other privately. If we have problems, we open up to each other if we need to. But at the same time, we're bloke, and it's also like there's a time and place for that kind of stuff. So that is big business.
That was a deep dive into the beer industry.
Deep dive. I mean, you go deeper. You can go deeper because like that's ALM's just one part of it. Yeah. Then you got Endeavour or Woolworths, so that's Dan Murphy's.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Woolworths still. But anyway, Endeavour, Dan Murphy's, which is the biggest. They're the big dogs.
Yeah.
Then you got Coles. So it goes, Dan Murphy sells the most liquor. Then it's ALM's distribution, which is all just independent bottlers that are Australian owned. So you've got then they're owned by a local family or whatever. So you got Celebrations, you got Bottlo, all the people that we mentioned on the podcast.
Yeah.
Porter's Liquor, Thirsty Camel, Liquor Legends. These are all independently owned kind of things. Then you've got Coles, obviously, First Choice Liquor, I think it is.
Yeah, First Choice. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the rank of it. But yeah, like it's a really tough, capital intensive business. But if you can hit scale and get people repeat buying, like thousands and thousands of people, it's the dream. It's the dream. Now we're not even close to that yet. We're tiny. The beer's really, we launched a while ago and it was just me, which is so naive. But this version of the beer is really only 3 years old. And so the beer industry. So if you ever sitting there going, oh, why is it $59.95 or $62 or whatever? I promise you, we're not making.
Yeah, bargain.
And when you see the specials of like $50, we won't be making money on that. Yeah. It's a special to get people to try it and enjoy it, and also to reward the bloke community. Like if you walk in, fuck yeah, $50, you get to save $10. Like that's. And then obviously once you hit scale, then that's when you when you see beer like VB and that, like the scale that they're at. I don't think people like Great Northern, for example.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand how big
they are. Giant.
They're number one first of all. They're number one.
Yeah.
But the amount of that their breweries would be ticking through, the scale at which they'd be operating. Let's say they sell 100,000 cases a week. They might make $1 on each case, So they because they can make $1 on each case rather than $20 on 1,000 cases a week over 100,000 cases a week, Yeah. So there's an industry for you.
Wow.
And G'd up. If it goes public, buy some stock in it. They're killing it. They are absolutely killing it. And also the Manshake, killing it.
The Manshake. Wow, that was interesting as.
And I really don't know much about. Have we done 9 now? We've done 9 now. Yeah, we've done 9 now.
Just before we go, I don't know if you've seen this. And fucking, I don't know what it is with New South Wales Blues. We're dropping like flies. Spencer Leanu's out now with a ruptured testicle.
Oh, poor fella.
Yeah.
It's one of those injuries too where like people take the piss out of him.
Yeah.
And you're like, bruh.
It's one of those things that you take the piss and like when someone gets hit in the nuts, you kind of laugh, but you kind of cringe. But this one,
ruptured. Oh my God. Imagine the banter the poor fella was dealing with. Yeah, huge out. And he wouldn't have been bad on the bench, especially with how many forwards are gone.
I don't know who, like...
Oh, we have to clear up the Moses Leota thing.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
So I'm Ron Burgundy. I just read what's in front of me. What's bizarre, I cannot believe we brought up Moses Leota as an option because I literally was giving him raps playing for the Kiwis.
The reason is, though, is because I'm not making excuses, but, like, he only got... It was a Ronaldo Mulatalo situation. He was in... Because last Origin camp I was in, 2020, he was in contention and people were talking about him. And that's why it was in my head. I check everything. I don't know why I didn't fucking check this one. Anyway, yeah, so he got denied at the back end, like about a year ago. So, and then he went to the World Cup. I remember him being in the World Cup, but it must have just left my mind. But yeah, my sincere apologies that was my fault.
Yeah, I should have known too, though.
Yeah.
The name did look weird when I wore it. I was like, that's... But anyway, I went with it. My bad.
Oh, well.
My bad. He's a Kiwi. Obviously, he killed it at the World Cup. Well, he played well at the World Cup.
Also, shout out to the guy, forget your name, who informed us that the reason for caps in RSLs...
that was my next thing.
He was like, he could have absolutely said, you're a fucking dog for saying that. But he was so respectful and nice about it because I felt terrible. I didn't know that.
When I saw that, I felt terrible too. Anyway, so last week... Matty asked, why don't you wear hats in RSLs and that?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like because, I feel terrible because my grandfather, well, both of them fought in the war, and my grandfather at Currumbin was a huge part of the RSL there.
Yeah.
But the reason why you don't wear hats in RSLs is to honour fallen soldiers.
Yeah.
Crazy.
When I read that, my heart sank.
I know, I read it too. I was like, fuck that bad. But at the same time, it is good because now the people listening to this know it also.
Yeah.
And we go, bloody oath, I'm never wearing a hat. I'm never going to
even think about it.
You know, like bloody, and that is good that we do that shit.
Yeah.
So thank you to that
guy.
That guy, and also got a few comments as well. So, a few messages as well in regard to that. It's to honour the fallen soldiers, which is I love that. I really do love that. Now, let's get on to some tips. Mate, I honestly can't remember who I tipped at the start of this week, so I'm just going to throw it out there.
Just going to start again?
As I said, I don't remember, so I'm just going to go with it. Doggies, obviously brought to you by Sportsbet. If you're going to have a punt, you do it with Sportsbet, guys. You already know. They're number one in the business, baby. Number one in the business. Do it responsibly. You win some, but you lose more. Only bet what you can afford, guys. Just a little bit of fun. Yeah. Doggies versus Warriors. Doggies paying $2.10. Warriors $1.74.
Look, I got an interesting one about this. We talk about the whole unconscious bias stuff in the Warriors last week. And the ref tonight, I'm sure we'll go into the game thinking 100% straight down the middle. But because of what's happened, do you reckon the Warriors will get a 50-50 call here and there? It's possible. I'm not saying,
Bro, it was in Parliament. There was a dude in Parliament saying Warriors got robbed.
I feel sorry for the Bulldogs, to be honest.
Oh, man. No, I think, look, I feel sorry for the ref because he's under immense pressure.
Yeah.
I'm going Warriors.
I'm tipping Warriors, yeah.
I'm going Warriors.
Not for that reason.
Not for that reason. I just think that I love what they're doing to the Warriors. They were right in that game against the Penny Panthers. Penny Panthers, Roosters.
Penrith.
I'm going Penrith, but the Roosters, they're like almost like a live tiger. Like
ready to pounce.
It could be sedate and might be fine, or it could literally tear your face off.
For sure. And the Roosters, they got Penrith twice the next month or so. So they would have looked at this period.
Mate,
I reckon they'll be up for it.
How weird. There must be an outside influence that has made this draw so bizarre this year.
Well, I think it's a system, and it like a computer system, and they claim that it's the fairest way to do it. But I don't see how maybe it's fair, but it's not like, I don't know how it's fair, to be honest.
Well, it could never be fair.
But it doesn't make sense. That's what. Anyway, whatever.
Look, I'm going to go Penny Panthers, but the Roosters, they're so bizarre.
They'll explode.
So bizarre. Surely it's going to come together and everyone's going to... Because, like, some people are writing them off.
Don't write them off.
It's
That's
only
stupid.
round 10. It's round 11 this week.
Roosters never start fast. I know they're starting slower than usual, but
It's round, and they're sitting.
they're in the top 8.
They're in the top 8.
Yeah.
It's like, bruh, they play well for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, they're premiership contenders again.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's round 11 as well. It's such a long
Yeah,
year.
we're not even in Origin yet.
Like, there are a few teams I reckon you can go, I don't think you're going to make the 8. But Roosters, what's 27 rounds this year?
27, yeah.
So it's like, we're not even halfway.
Yeah.
We're not even halfway. So they absolutely are still in the fight. South versus the Tigers.
South, but the last time South played Tigers, South pumped them. The time before that, the Tigers won. But then the 6 or 7 times before that, South won, but it was really close. So it's a bit weird with the Tigers, but yeah, I'm tipping South.
Well, they're paying $5.50.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Their 1 to 12 is their margin is what, 15?
15.5 last time I checked, yeah.
Not bad.
So that's a big margin.
It's a big margin, and as we've said, like, Tigers do seem to turn up outside of last year against the Rabbitohs, but I think the Rabbitohs get the job done.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a really good opportunity for the Rabbitohs to send a statement as well. Like, it sounds bizarre because, like, against the Tigers, but after the Storm beating Broncos, if they come out and towel the Tigers up, it's like, well, they're clear. Unless Panthers just destroy the Roosters,
Yeah.
they're clear and, like, out in front of everyone because obviously they dominated Storm. They beat the Broncos. Yes, they didn't have Payne Haas and Ezra Mann, but still they beat them. They beat what was in front of them.
Beat the Panthers.
They beat the Panthers, and then they go on and then just towel up the Tigers. It's like,
and,
okay.
and the reason I probably wouldn't back Tigers with the line, even though they could make a close whole game, against let's call them the teams outside the 8, and even the Dolphins who are in the 8, but like the Bulldogs, South played well for 40 minutes and put 50 on them, and the Dolphins game, Dolphins were winning at halftime, still pumped them. So like they only need 30, 40 minutes to put a score on.
It's true. Cowboys $1.45, Dragons $2.75.
I don't know. I think Cowboys, but like I just have a feeling the like it's Ben Hunt's 300th. I reckon they'll rock up for him.
Poor Jackie Bird.
Oh, did you see the whole interview?
I saw the interview and it's like,
No. Did you see the whole interview?
Yeah.
It was. I feel bad for him.
like, it's such a fine line because you don't want players to be politicians.
Yeah.
And a politician would have never said that. But Jackie, he's from a tough area, tough upbringing. He's just saying what he's thinking. He's not realizing like the ramifications of what he is like. And when you watch the whole interview, he does pull it back and he's like, I'm just trying to protect my coach.
Yeah.
And so I would obviously recommend Jackie not to say the fans don't know much.
No, he
about
definitely
footy.
said the wrong thing,
But at the same time, like, he was just speaking honestly and openly. It's like that Kanye West line. I'm talking like it's you and me. Like he's talking just openly and honestly. And so I don't think he's realizing like, bro, there's like hundreds of thousands of people out there going, you're telling me I don't know anything about rugby league, so I'm not allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah.
But he's not thinking that. He's not thinking that at all.
Not
He's just protecting his mate.
The Dragons got to sort that out because Sully did the same thing about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a good point. Point. Yeah, he came out after Jackie and was like, look, I didn't mean it. Like, I was just trying to defend my mate. And look, a lot of fans, they don't know much about rugby league, and rightly so. They've got full-time jobs they've got to worry about. But there are also a lot of fans that know a lot about rugby league. You don't have to have played NRL to have a good measure of the game. Look at Timmy, look at Guru.
Yeah.
I won't say Tom and Eddie because...
But they admitted themselves.
They admitted themselves. They actually do know a bit about rugby league. They're just taking the piss. But, like, you can't tell me that Timmy and Guru, like, they may not know the fully X's and O's, but you can't tell me that they don't know in depth about rugby.
Yeah.
Like, they do. They absolutely do. So, yeah, it was just one of those things where he grew up, you say how it is, you say how you feel, boom. This is how I feel. I'm honest. Off me, and obviously, when you're in a media position like that, you're trained not to do that. You're trained to make sure that no one gets offended, no one gets upset. Not to say that fans didn't have a reason to be like, hang on a sec, fuck you. Like I know a little bit about footy. I'm allowed to have my opinion. Like I get why fans got frustrated.
Yeah.
But if there's one bloke, like I think always, if you ever want to judge a bloke, judge him how he plays on the weekend.
Oh, you
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they're ripping in each week and they might say something silly, his heart is in the right place because his actions are showing that he cares.
Yeah.
The words were said a bit incorrectly.
Yeah.
It's saying all of that. I'm going the Cowboys though.
Yep, Cowboys.
Raiders, Eels.
Another tough one. I'm going Raiders just because Moses is out and Raiders are in form. So, yeah, Raiders.
They've had such close wins though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Eels.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe Eels are like that team that I just stick by. For some
You
reason.
do tip the Eels a lot.
They've got such a good side.
They are, I know.
That side is unbelievable. Even without Mitch Moses, it's still a gun side.
Yeah.
I will say, like, without Mitch Moses, Marnie, Papali'i, Kofusi, all those boys that left last year, does look a bit thin when you lose Moses as well. But with Junior Paolo, RCG playing, Dylan Brown.
Is RCG...
Aussie? Oh, he's still injured.
Still out? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fuck. I didn't think of that. You know what? I'm still going to go Eels. I'm still going to go Eels.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dill Brown have a big game. Newey Knights v the Titans.
I reckon Newcastle in this one.
You reckon? I'm going
fresh
Titans.
off the bye.
I'm going Titans. I like what the Titans have been doing, especially this last month.
I think I've got all my Titans tips wrong this year. So,
oh, really?
They're
hard to tip.
I tip them, they win. I don't tip them, they lose. It's crazy.
Manly paying $2.60 at home to the Sharks, $1.50.
I have this feeling. I had it about the Cowboys last week, but I've got this feeling that this is going to be Tommy Turbo's. This is going to be his last chance to do something. I reckon he's going to have a big one. So I reckon Manly going to win. And they got embarrassed by Brisbane, so they'll be wanting to bounce back.
Yeah, but...
I guess the Sharks got embarrassed too. But.
Yeah, but with the Tommy thing, I don't think it's a matter of like, oh, he's decided to just going to have a big one now. I think he's being told to stay within himself.
But does he think now this is my last chance to
so stuff it?
Yeah,
he's going to throw all the like being told to run in a certain way, right, and just go for it. You reckon? I think that's a New South Welshman in you hoping.
I think I'm just hoping. Yeah.
I'm going to go Storm. I'm going to go Sharkies.
Sorry, I didn't read it. I heard a random stats guy say it. Apparently the Sharks are 10-0 in the rain with Nico Hines.
10-0 in the rain with Nico Hines.
So, I don't know what the weather is, but if he said it, I'm assuming it's going to rain. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, it's the wet hair.
It's the hair.
It's the hair. It's the wetter it gets, the better he plays. Yeah. Anyway, that's our tips done and doosted for the week. That's Pucker Up done for the week.
All right, boys.
Get out to your local, grab a case of Bloke beer from Celebrations in all New South Wales and Queensland, currently on special. Get in there, grab a case. You will not regret it. It's a beautiful beer, easy drinking lager, and a beautiful mid-strength. I promise you that. Super, super easy, crisp mid-strength. But as usual, I'll go and fuck myself. Thank you.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.